Let's dive right into this explainer and unravel the staggering scale of a true crime mystery that completely compromised India's medical education system. We're looking at one of the most audacious, high-tech, and honestly terrifying scandals to ever hit the academic world. This wasn't just a few kids passing notes in class. No, this is a story involving billionaires, top-tier politicians across the spectrum, brave whistleblowers, and, well, a trail of highly suspicious deaths.
Let's kick things off with a pretty shocking number, 1,980. That's exactly how many people were arrested in this massive, industrialized cheating ring. Just pause for a second and think about the sheer logistics of that. We're talking about nearly 2,000 individuals, students, parents, brokers, officials, and fake test takers, all handcuffed in connection to a single academic fraud network. And the crazy part? Even with almost 2,000 arrests, the police were still hunting for hundreds more.
To understand how the arrest count got that high, you really have to look at the scale of this network. It was deeply entrenched. By one estimate, something like 140,000 men and women have sat for these exams since 2007. It literally became an industry of deceit, basically replacing hard work with hard cash.
Before we go any further, we need to define the entity at the very center of all this. Vyapam is the Hindi acronym for the official state board in Madhya Pradesh that conducts over 50 professional exams. Basically, they're the gatekeepers. They hold the keys to lucrative government jobs and those incredibly coveted medical school admissions. They were the ones supposed to safeguard the integrity of these vital exams. Yet, incredibly, officials inside Vyapam allegedly became totally complicit in the whole thing.
So, let's get into Section 1, how exams were rigged.
How do you actually pull something like this off? Well, they didn't rely on just one method. They had an entire menu of fraud to choose from. First off, candidates would hire impersonators. These were often brilliant young medical students from neighboring states brought in to actually sit down and write the exam for them, sometimes even taking their physical education tests. If that didn't work, they'd pay scores. These were also medical students but paid to sit right next to the candidate in the exam hall and just help them cheat. They also outright leaked and sold question papers. And if all else completely failed, candidates were told to just leave their answer sheets blank. Later on, behind closed doors, complicit teachers would literally fill in the right answers. Unbelievable, right?
Now take a look at the staggering amount of money exchanging hands just to buy a single medical seat. These seats were essentially being auctioned off to the highest bidder. We're talking about bribes ranging from 1 million to 7 million rupees. To put that into perspective, in US dollars, that's roughly $15,000 to over $100,000 just to secure a spot in medical school. This system completely locked out the deserving, honest students who simply couldn't scrounge up a $100,000 bribe.
As you can imagine, unraveling this wasn't easy. Investigators had to sift through absolute mountains of evidence to untangle this high-tech web. They carefully analyzed nearly 10,000 forged photographs of students. 10,000! These were photos where the impersonator's face was digitally morphed with the actual candidate's face. They also pulled electronic data from at least 5 main hard drives and seized countless laptops and pen drives. The digital footprint here was just as massive as the financial one.
Moving on to the next part of our explainer, the billionaire and politicians. According to a 2013 income tax report recovered during raids, a mining baron named Sudhir Sharma allegedly funded the travel of top political leaders. Sharma, who had this vast business empire of mines and colleges, was actually jailed in 2014 after dodging arrest for 6 months. The tax report alleged that his colleges, which were linked directly to the Vyapam scam, were regularly funneling massive cash payments to pay for the travel and expenses of VIP political figures.
Now we're impartially looking at what the tax officials reported here. This 2013 document outlined alleged cash flows from these Vyapam-linked colleges to figures across the entire political spectrum. For instance, it named folks like Suresh Sonia, the RSS, and Prabhat Jha, who was the state president of the BJP at the time, alleging their air tickets were paid for in cash. It noted deep links to former mining and education minister Laxmakant Sharma. And it didn't stop there. It also alleged that state Congress legislator Veer Singh Burio was receiving regular payments.
But it's really vital we look at the direct responses to these allegations from the sources themselves. Prabhat Jha, for example, defended his travel arrangements by stating his party handles his tickets. He specifically asked, "What's wrong if the party pays for my ticket?"
Similarly, Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, whose name also popped up in that income tax report, flat out denied the allegations. He explained, "I never got tickets from anybody. As a party general secretary, my tickets were booked by the party headquarters."
So the accused strongly maintained their innocence, stating all their travel was strictly handled through official party channels, totally pushing back against the tax report's narrative.
Okay, let's step into the darkest part of this explainer, a very deadly twist.
Because this white-collar corruption case quickly spiraled into a deadly thriller. Feisty whistleblowers like Dr. Anand Rai, a medical officer who had actually been helping the police expose the rigged exams, started getting terrifying death threats from the masterminds. Dr. Rai had noticed fishy activities for years. Like, back in 2005, he realized the top 10 ranking candidates all lived in the exact same medical school hostel and were related to high-ranking officials. By 2013, while he was helping police catch suspects, he got a call from Mumbai. The caller threatened his life, telling him he would pay if he handed the phone number over to the police. Dr. Rai gave the number to them anyway, which actually led to an arrest, but the danger he was in? Absolutely real.
And this single number right here is where the story gets chilling. 33. According to reports from 2015, 33 people connected to the Vyapam scam have mysteriously died.
Let's break that down, because it's a lot to take in. 33 accused individuals passed away in the span of just 2 years. With 10 of those deaths happening in sudden, unexpected road accidents, observers and investigators alike really started questioning if there was a deeply frightening cover-up at work. Now, while it's difficult to definitively link every single one of these deaths to the scandal, the sheer volume of fatalities surrounding the case sparked nationwide fear, and honestly, a ton of deep suspicion about loose ends being violently tied up.
Which brings us to our final section, the cost of corruption.
Let's bring this back to why this regional scandal impacts pretty much everyone who relies on a healthcare system. India produces around 30,000 doctors every single year through its globally recognized medical education system. It's one of the largest in the entire world, boasting over 380 medical schools. And these doctors, they go on to treat millions of people, not just in India, but literally all over the globe.
So this perfectly illustrates the true victim of Vyapam. On one side, you have a system that relies on rigorous study, where more than 70,000 students show up every year to take their exams honestly, studying late into the night, hoping their raw merit will carry them through. But on the other side, you have a system tainted by $100,000 bribes, impersonators, and fake doctors. The real crime here isn't just the stolen money, it's the total destruction of meritocracy in a field where competence literally means the difference between life and death.
The damage was so profound that even the state's Home Minister, Babalal Gaur, admitted the unparalleled scale of the disaster. He noted how deeply it has scarred the reputation of their doctors, saying, "This is bigger than Alibaba and 40 Thieves. The scandal has given a bad name to the state."
Home Minister Gaur continued by pointing out a completely devastating reality. He said, "Our doctors are suffering. If you are a doctor from Madhya Pradesh, people will ask, are you real or fake? So, I'm going to leave you with this terrifying thought drawn straight from the sources. If you're wheeled into an emergency room tomorrow, how can you be absolutely sure that the person holding the scalpel over you didn't just buy their medical degree in a hotel room?